spoiler talk for The Flash. You know, thinking about my big flaw with the entire movie is that it's mainly CGI based. It's just how crazy, weird all of the CGI looks. It's the baby falling scene. Like you can't show us real babies and then have all these I know you can't do practical effects of babies falling out of windows, but if you can't make your babies your CGI babies look like real babies, think of something else to do. Like, think of something different, you know? It just don't do babies. When both Barrys go into that Speed Force bowl, and then around them are all of the timelines, all of the different eventualities that could happen at any moment, that you go back in time and you try to stop, but then it's just so heavy, caramelized, like it's caramel. It looks like caramelized CGI. It's strange cartoons. This movie should have come out in 2018, which is crazy to think about. That this movie was supposed to come out in 2018. It's 2023, and those babies still need to go. They need to go back in their incubators. Someone needs to grow out those babies. The cameos, the Superman, all of the Superman cameos are all, again, CGI, because most of those people are either dead or too old to be Superman anymore. Dude, the Nick Cage cameo, which when you see it, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then you're like, oh, but it's CGI Caramel Cage. It's Caramel Nick Cage. He's in a caramel, he's got a caramel face and his long black hair, and it's it's a nice little Easter egg for people who know about why Nick Cage is in a Superman suit, but that's really for guys like me, who know all about that shit. If you are just a casual moviegoer and you're seeing this movie and then you see Nick Cage as you see all the other Supermen, and you're like, hey, I remember him. If you wanted to do that with Christopher Reeves, you could have kind of done it with Brandon Routh, who's A, still alive, and B, he was Superman. He came back as Superman in the CW shows. So if you got Brandon Routh walking around not being Superman, and you have a Christopher Reeves as Superman character that you need to put in a Superman suit as an Easter egg for us to see Superman, why wasn't Brandon Routh there? Because when you see Christopher Reeves as CGI, again, he looks like caramel, but also this means nothing to me. Are we gonna actually see the Flash interact with Christopher Reeves Superman? No, you don't see it. So when you see Nick Cage, everyone who doesn't know about Nick Cage almost being Superman is gonna be like,
yo, is that Nick Cage?
Like, why is he fighting a spider? Does Superman fight spiders? But Nick Cage is still alive. Can't you take the Nick Cage from Renfield and put him in a Superman suit and he's old Nick Cage? Like, he's still alive as Nick Cage. You just ask for his face. You had to go to Nick Cage and be like, can we take your face off? And then you put him on a fucking CGI Superman. That's the weird thing about cameos, is like, ah, cool, look, they're here. And then you're like, oh, are they gonna help fight Zod, who also is CGI the whole time? He's CGI the whole time. I didn't read anything about the movie. So when you go into the finale and Barry takes the can of tomatoes back out of his mom's cart to make sure she gets murdered. Which is a really sad thing. Then he realizes, like, oh man, maybe if I just move the cans up, my dad will look up, you can see the camera, and then you can see his face, and then bang, you can know he wasn't the murderer. He didn't do the murder. He gets exonerated, he's able to leave now, jail, and because Barry changed that one aspect, and then they leave. And then he gets a call from Batman, and then Ben Affleck's car rolls up, and he walks out into the courtyard to congratulate Barry, and then it's George Clooney. So moving the cans is another shift in the time-space continuum, and you have now George Clooney as Batman. However, the reason I don't like that is several layers. One, what? In the Michael Keaton Batman movies, those are four. They go together. You have Batman, Then you have Batman Returns, and then no more Michael Keaton. Then you have Val Kilmer, who does 1, and then no more Val Kilmer in Batman Forever. Then you have Batman and Robin. But in Batman Forever, Val Kilmer gets adopts 25-year-old Chris O'Donnell, Dick Grayson, Robin, right? So we have Robin in Batman Forever, played by Chris O'Donnell, who also Michael Keaton's Batman also has an Alfred, and that Alfred stays the same Alfred all the way to George Clooney. And Chris O'Donnell comes from Batman Forever over to Batman and Robin. So George Clooney is already Michael Keaton. So Michael Keaton, they didn't split the timeline. It just goes, let's say Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, but it says Bruce Wayne Batman, Bruce Wayne Batman, Bruce Wayne Batman, Bruce Wayne Batman, all the way through. They're the same person. That's one timeline, same person. So when Clooney walks up, you're like, oh, that might as well be Michael Keaton, because he's continuing from where Keaton started. They didn't reboot it. It just go.
That's what we did in the 90s.
You just go, oh, this actor doesn't want to do this anymore? We'll recast him. Bang. Now you have to pretend that this guy you're seeing was this guy. And you're like, this guy looks fucking absolutely nothing like that fucking guy. And you gotta go, and the Warner Brothers was like, fucking blow us. We're making the movie anyway. This is what you get. And you go, okay, whatever, fine. Val Kilmer is now Bruce Wayne, Batman, but he's from already over here. So we have to suspend our disbelief and go with it. And then Val Kilmer doesn't want to do those movies anymore, so George Clooney takes over. So you're like, he looks nothing, okay, but whatever, we went through this. This is an abusive relationship, so okay, fine. Michael Keaton. He's already Michael Keaton. So George being there doesn't make any, he's already Michael Keaton. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I really walked out going, whatever. Because, who gives a shit? They're redoing the whole universe anyway. So they're gonna do a bunch of new movies with new actors, and there's gonna be a different Batman. It's not Ben Affleck, it's not Michael Keaton, it's not George Clooney. It's a new fucking guy. And we already have a Robert Pattinson Batman, which is a whole other universe. I'm like, whatever, bro. I don't care. It's just a weird cameo that I'm like,
oh, that's kinda cute.
But then you find out that the original ending was when Barry put the can up. That changed everything to where Michael Keaton was supposed to be at the end of that. That was the bombshell. Michael Keaton's Batman survived and is now taking over for Ben Affleck. No more Ben Affleck, we got Keaton running things. Supergirl comes down and they join up and they have this whole sequence where it's like, this is the status quo. This Batman is like Tony Stark. Then everything got fucked up, James Gunn took over, so they scrapped it. Even if Michael Keaton isn't gonna be Batman anymore, you could have still had that as the ending. You could have still already had Keaton as Batman in that ending, since you're gonna start over anyway. Why go through the fucking rigmarole of having George come in when he's already Keaton? We've discussed this. If you've never seen Batman and Robin, then you're gonna be like, why is George Clooney here? It's even more maddening when you realize the original ending was kind of baller. That's a pretty cool twist ending, that it's definitely no longer Ben Affleck and it's Keaton, and then that was gonna be the status quo. But you changed it, so then you decided to change the ending. But again, you could have kept it. It would have been fine. It would have still been totally fine. What I wanted more of in the Flash goes back in time and younger Barry is trying his best to save Supergirl and save the planet, and so his mom doesn't have to die. I wish that older Barry would have tried harder too. I wanted him to still have the realization, but he goes back twice. Batman flies into a plane, kills himself, flies into a spaceship and kills himself. Supergirl dies. So then they try again. They go back in time and then they try again. Batman has one of the dopest sequences ever where he fights the big guy. He fights the big Kryptonian, knocks him out of the plane, he ejects out of the plane, and then he jumps on his back and keeps adding bombs to his back and blowing him up. And in that, Batman gets mortally wounded and Barry's like, oh shit. And then that older Barry stops trying and younger Barry keeps trying. I just think it's weird that older Barry gave up so quickly. I don't know, I just wanted him to be like, let me try again. And then you see a third and a fourth, and then finally he just, no matter how, because he's trying so hard the whole movie, and then this is the one time that he gives up. Like pretty quickly, he just kind of just scraps it. And he's like, we can't save them. There's no point. Mom has to die.
Mom has to die.
I said I'm sorry, Mama.
But I wish there would have been more with the Dark Flash himself. As soon as younger Barry gets a spike in his arm, even before that, you could kind of see that's the Dark Flash that pushed him out. That's younger Barry. You're working with time travel, of course. You have two speedsters, one of them that is doing everything that he can to stop Zod from destroying the world, so older Barry doesn't go off and let Mom die. I don't know, there was something missing there where I was like, I needed a little bit more with that version of Flash. Strange that I'm gonna say this, but I would have been cool with a lot less Batman had we gotten more of that, because that's the shit that, that's the shit that I love. Time travel paradoxes, and then a sliver below that is Batman. And I just love a good time travel paradox story. I love it so much. Well, what did you guys think of the movie? Am I way off on my analysis of the movie? Am I right on the money, as it were? Am I somewhere in the middle? Leave it all in the comments. I would love to if you guys subscribe to everything that I do. Follow me on Instagram. You can find all of everything to subscribe wherever you're watching this. It's all in the description. So if you've already followed me, great. If you're already subscribed to me, awesome. But if you're subscribed to me but not following me, could you go and follow me? And if you're following me but not subscribed to me, could you go subscribe to me? Wow, that's hard to say in one breath. Appreciate everyone who's been around, and I'll see you guys next time.
That's what we did in the 90s.